Today we will have a discussion on technology throughout the ages. As we know, technology has advanced greatly throughout the decades. It is because of technology that we're able to advance as a whole in the field of medicine, construction, fashion, real estate, and many more. Along each and every decade, our people as a whole have become too dependent on technology, making our society weak and crippled to traditional things like going to the library and reading actual and scripted knowledge. Nowadays, most kids look online for the information they need and not going to the actual library to actually pick up a book. Technology is great, but how is it affecting this generation?
Hey, you don't want, you're supposed to. Oh, wait a minute.
Do you think that technology is crippling social skills for this generation?
Yes, because students do not know how to write. They so used to using abbreviations for texting, and they don't know how to communicate with people, and so when they get ready to go on job interviews, they don't know how to communicate to employers. So I think that's one of the big things that kind of crippling the students with technology.
Because of technology, most kids cannot read a map. Do you think that this should change?
um, yeah. Well, personally, I don't know how to read a map. We're so dependent on. I know I use my GPS all the time. So, yeah, technology is really crippling students, and even with they type documents, but they don't really write. And a lot of students now do not know how to write in cursive, and I think that's going to be a big deficiency in students.
How has technology changed over the years?
It has changed tremendously from when I was in school, or when I first started. When I first was in school, we used typewriters, and we had computers that had the big floppy disk, the 5 1/4 floppy disk, and then we had to write programs to get those floppy disks to boot up. And then it's changed over, so it's made a lot easier, and you don't have to have a big bulky computer. Now you can walk around with a laptop or even a tablet. So technology has changed tremendously. It's been for the better, but I can see some disadvantages as well. Students have access to the internet, whereas when I was in school, we had encyclopedias, and those were books with each alphabet, and it's kind of like a big dictionary that had information that we used to do research. So now, instead of having the bulky encyclopedias, now we can just use our keyboard to go on the internet and find whatever we need.
Do you think it's sad that most kids do not know where the library is anymore?
Yes, it's pretty sad that a lot of times students don't go to the library and pull different books and pull information from that. Now people just use their computer. They can access electronic resources online. So I hope the library continues to provide resources, but I know it's slowly kind of fading out with the internet, with people having more access to the internet in their homes.
Here at DOT, and one of them has been texting and driving. You have said that Americans are addicted to cell phones and Blackberries. Why?
Well, we started this campaign 4 years ago. We've had 2 summits here in Washington. I've attended summits in Texas and Florida. We've really stirred up a lot of interest in this, what I consider to be a very important safety program. Every American has some kind of adult American, I'll say, has some kind of a phone or texting device, and we think we can use them everywhere we're at. I've seen people using them in church. I've seen people using them at funerals, at weddings, and we've gotten into very, very dangerous behavior because we think we can use them behind the wheel of a car when we're driving, and it's just not safe. And so when we started our campaign, only 18 states had passed laws. Now 39 have passed laws. We're working on trying to get all 50 states to pass laws. We think it's kind of like when we started our seatbelt campaign here, nobody was buckling up. 20 years later, 86% of us, the first thing we do is buckle up when we get in a car. And 20 years ago, people said you can't get drunk drivers off the road. Look what we've done. Mothers Against Drunk Driving, DUI laws, .08, good enforcement. So what we need on this campaign is not just Ray LaHood talking about it. We need good laws, good enforcement, and people taking personal responsibility to put these devices away, both hands on the wheel, both eyes on the road.
In looking at this issue, though, have you ever studied what's in the psyche of the American individual that feels that they are compelled to respond to an email while driving?
Well, I mean, look, we've just gotten into very bad habits because we think we can use these. We're attached to them, and we think we can use them. And you can't use them and drive safely. You just can't, because you don't have both eyes on the road and you don't have both hands on the wheel when you got the cell phone up to your ear. And if you're looking down for 4 seconds texting, your car goes the length of a football field. Talking about a 5,000 or 6,000 or 10,000 pound vehicle, and you're not, it's going the length of a football field. Very, very.
Technology. Most kids nowadays cannot read a map. Do you think that this should change?
I think it should. I think we need to go back to the basics and, you know, pull out the hands-on things, the manipulate, so kids can actually see it in front of them instead of looking on a computer or looking on their cell phone.
How old were you when you first got your phone? When you first got a phone?
It was in high school, so it was around maybe 15, maybe around 15, 16.
Do you think that certain applications of technology, such as social media, affects the oncoming generation?
It does. If you use it in a positive way, you know, it can be a good thing. But nowadays, a lot of people are using it for negative consequences, you know, and it can come back and get them.
Lastly, do you think this generation is losing intelligence due to technology?
I think so. Like I said, it's making a lot of kids lazy and not wanting to actually look for the information and going through and actually researching it. So I guess since it's there for them, it makes it a little bit easier, therefore kind of making them a little bit lazy.
What does it actually feel like? What does it really feel like to watch yourself or your name and your likeness to be ripped apart online? Some of you may know this yourself. It feels like a punch in the gut. As if a stranger walked up to you on the street and punched you hard and sharp in the gut. For me, that was every day in 1998.